So welcome. Good to be here on this April Sunday morning or afternoon or evening, whatever time of day it is for you. And we'll just wait a couple of minutes as folks are joining in. It's time just to become aware of your breath and to attune to your body. However your body is this morning, however your breath is today. And this morning, our theme is the medicine of mantra. And the way that the schedule will go or the flow of this session will go is that we'll do a little bit of chanting. And we'll chant some mantras, short mantras and longer mantras. And then I'll give an introduction to this theme so that you have a chance, if this is new to you or if you've spent a lot of time with mantra. I always feel like there's something new, some reminder to receive. So we'll spend a little bit of time just talking about the theme of mantra. And then we will sit together and we'll have a longer sitting period of at least 20 minutes, most of which will be in silence. So you'll have the opportunity just to settle into your practice. And then I'll share just a little bit more on the theme. We'll do the dedication of merit. And then at the top of the hour, there'll be time if you want to sign out and go on with your day, or there'll be another 20 minutes for Q&A and reflections on this theme. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll chant some mantras together. And this is the Sacred Mountain Sangha chanting booklet. And we'll go to the mantra page, page 3. And I'm going to show full screen. So we'll start with the third mantra down. And this is a mantra of taking refuge. So honoring the three refuges of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And it's a Sri Lankan melody. So let's just chant it together and just listening to the sounds if this is new to you and joining in whenever you're ready. So with all of the chanting, it's an opportunity either just to listen in and receive the resonance of the sound, or to join in to making these sounds, honoring the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Buddham, Buddham, Buddham one day, Dhammaham, Dhammaham, Dhammaham one day, Sangham, Sangham, Sangham one day, Buddham, Dhammaham, Sangham one day, Buddham, Buddham, Buddham one day, Dhammaham, Dhammaham, Dhammaham one day, Sangham, Sangham, Sangham one Sangaham Vande Buddhaham Dhammaham Sanghaham Vande. And then we'll chant together the Namo Quan Shur Yimpusa with the Da Be. And I'm going to scroll down to the Great Compassion Mantra. And the way we'll do this is that we'll chant the opening mantra together. Sorry for the scroll. And then I'm going to share sound so we can hear a more full sound of the mantra. And so I'll share computer sound and you'll hear Tanisar and Kitty Saro and a whole group of people chanting the Great Compassion Mantra together. And then I'll stop that sound and we'll share a more simple same mantra to Kuan Yin. So Namo Quan Shur Yin Pusa. So we'll chant this opening mantra, Namo Da Pe Quan Shur Yin Pusa. So I honor the compassionate one who listens at ease to the sounds of the world. Namo Da Be Quan Shur Yin Pusa. Namo Da Be Quan Shur Yin Pusa. Namo Da Be Quan Shur Yin Pusa. So in a moment, I'm going to share sound and also hopefully share the words. This is a little bit of complex Zoom navigation. But in sharing the sound, what I'd love for you to feel is how the mantra, the Great Compassion Mantra, these sounds flow like water. Or as Master Shunhua taught, that it also can sound like a horse, like that clippity-clop, clippity-clop, clippity-clop of a horse, which also really resonates for me when I listen to this and maybe you want to chant along with it or just listen to the sounds. The sound, the rhythm of water or like the movement of a horse. So I'm going to share sound. And so I'm going to switch my sound. So hopefully the sound will come through, instead of coming through my mic, it's going to come through my computer. And this will be, it's going to repeat and I'll stop it before it repeats. And then we'll chant this more simple mantra without the dabe to close this great compassion mantra. And again, we'll chant it 3 times. So Namo Quan Shri Pusa. Namo Quan Shri Pusa. Mo Quan Shri Pusai na 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 mo quan Shri Pusai. So definitely more than 3 times. Nice to hold that mantra. And then going back to the page 3, we'll close this chanting session just with the simple mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. And while this is also a mantra to Kuan Yin, this is the heart mantra of Avalokiteshvara, which is the Sanskrit name Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. So this reminder that the jewel, the jewel of awareness is what we're turning towards, what we're aligning with. So we're honoring the great compassion of Kuan Yin, which is our own compassion, which is our own heart. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 So I'll stop my screen share and welcome if you've just joined into the space. So my name's Djuna Devereaux. Actually, it says Sacred Mountain Sangha, but my name's Djuna Devereaux, and my pronouns are she, her. And I'm located on Coast Salish land, past, present, and future, also known as Orcas Island in the San Juan Islands. And this morning I wanted to touch on the medicine of mantra, really the power of using mantra, of aligning with mantra with chanting as we've just done. So maybe you can feel the power of chanting, making the sounds of the mantras, these ancient sounds, these ancient languages, some of them. The resonance that has for the body, for the nervous system, for the subtle channels of the body, sometimes called meridians or nadis in the Ayurvedic system. But also the power of holding mantra within meditation and within daily life. So the holding of mantra, as you've probably noticed, isn't that common in Western Dharma circles, especially in insight meditation circles. And yet in the Theravadan tradition, in the it's called the Way of the Elders, the early Buddhist teachings, there's a lot of practice around refuge. So remembering, aligning with the refuge of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So aligning with the refuge of the historical Buddha, but also our own awakened nature of Dhamma, of the teachings of the Buddha, the Buddhist teachings, but also of the wisdom of how it is. So aligning with the understanding of impermanence, with the realization that there is this truth of dukkha, there is suffering and the end of suffering, and that our experience is conditioned. So we're part of a web of life, and as such, we're not just solo players on our own private drama. There's a lot more going on than that. So this is an alignment and with refuge, and often, just like we chanted Buddham, Dhammam, Sangha one day, I go one day, going for refuge, as a way of holding a mantra, as a way of aligning with refuge. There's many different refuge chants, as you know. I just chose that one today because of the beautiful melody. So that might be a mantra that you hold, is a sense of returning to refuge, returning to awakening, returning to the truth of how it is, returning to our place within the community, within the web of life. But also in the Theravadan, there's the Parita chants, the protection chants. I haven't heard Sinister and Kittisaro chant them as much, but when I was at Dharmagiri, we chanted every day the protection chants, chanting to all of the creatures, the many-legged, the four-legged, the two-legged, the no-legged, really offering them our safety so that we wouldn't cause harm, and so then asking for safety from them so they wouldn't cause us harm, especially being in a wilderness, more mountainous environment where there were poisonous snakes and so on. It felt very nourishing to chant those protection chants as part of the Theravadan tradition. There's also the metta phrases, and so these invocations, if you will, these phrases that are inviting us into alignment. May I be safe. May you be at ease. May all beings be at ease. May there be freedom from fear. So these metta phrases are also mantra. And for many, many years, I held the metta phrases on retreat and meditation, but also just in daily life, waking up in the middle of the night with some fear, right? And may I be safe. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. This way of aligning with this invocation for kindness, for friendliness, for welcoming the experience. And also the mantra of Buddho is part of the Theravadan tradition. And Kittisaro talks about that a lot. And when he was practicing with Ajahn Chah, that was what they held. So breathe in Bud, breathe out Do. So Bud, Do, which means awake. So this reminder again, awake, to align with that awakened capacity of the mind and the heart. But also, of course, in the Mahayana practice, we just chanted the mantra to Kuan Yin, different mantras. So Namo Dabe, Dabe means greatly compassionate. So I honor Namo Quan Shur Yimpu Sa. So simple, Namo Quan Shur Yimpu Sa. Namo means I honor or I return my life. The sense of whatever it is that we're holding, whatever it is that we think is going on, whatever it is that we think we can plan out and engineer, we're returning all of that back into the listening, into a more intuitive, a more aligned, awake, aware nature of the heart. And also we're aligning here with the bodhisattva of compassion. We're actually calling on this great compassionate heart, this being of compassion that is really the essence of all of our hearts. So Namo, Quan, means to regard. Quan, it's a soft sound, more like a G, Quan. Shur is the world. And Yin, the sounds of the world. Pu, awake. Sa, the bodhisattva. So Namo Quan Shur Yin Pu Sa. And this is a mantra that I've held for many years now. Sometimes just Namo, sometimes just Kuan Yin. But for me, it actually helps to hold the full mantra, because it meets my thinking mind, it meets that cognitive faculty of the mind, all of that momentum, that flow of thinking with just a short thought. Namo Quan Shi Yin Pusa. And for me, it's very helpful to slow that mantra down. So instead of Namo Quan Shi Yin Pusa, like I used to hike with it and it would just kind of be like pounding away. So not that, it wasn't that helpful because then it just kind of is like chatter. But for me, really helpful to slow it down and to let there be gaps between each word. So the Namo, and then listening into that space, that moment of stillness, of silence, when the mind, that train of thought is paused. Quan Shi Yin Pusa. And when the full mantra has ended, just to rest in that spaciousness at the end of the mantra. So that the sound or the words, the inner sound or the inner words are powerful. This reminder for the cognitive mind to realign with a deeper knowing, to realign with wisdom. As I mentioned, what does it mean to align with wisdom? It can be just the simple recognition, oh, I'm caught up right now. Or the simple recognition that this is conditioned, it's arising and passing. It seems so real. It seems so intense. But look how it's just arisen and how it's already in the process of becoming something else. And that already there's some help that's here because we can align with refuge, can align with the knowing heart. We can be in Sangha with other living beings or with this living Dharma, with the living Bodhisattva that again is this responsive nature of the awakened heart. So this way of meeting the mind with a thought is also part of the Theravadan tradition in the jhana practice. It's called a vitaka, which is a thought that directs. So sometimes if you don't want to hold the mantra of Kuan Yin, if that feels kind of foreign or in some way just not aligned for you, doesn't resonate, for me, I often also just work with how is it now? Or what's happening now? So that's a question, but that has that same effect, this vitaka, that is stopping the mind, pausing the mind, and inviting the mind to be receptive, to open to a more spacious knowing, to come out of that narrowness. And that's called vichara, this capacity to be receptive. What are we receiving? Well, we're aligning with wisdom, but we can also, in a very simple way, just align with the body. First foundation, what's happening now? Namo. Align with the body. Okay, the body's resting on the earth. There's some stillness there, there's some stability there, there's breath. Can deepen the breath if there's agitation, or deepen the exhalation. Maybe the possibility in that moment as we touch our experience to release a little bit of holding. So this opportunity just to soften with that touching the moment, touching the thinking mind with a thought, with an invitation. So it's not saying stop thinking or be present. It's just inviting. Namo, how is it to return to the listening? Or how is it to be here now? And this is a powerful practice of trust. It's called saddha, trust, really the foundation again of refuge. That there is a trust that there is something more than thinking. And I know all of you trust in this because you're here. You've experienced that. And yet I know for myself, there's times when I really trust in worry and anxiety. It's It's like I'm really just going to work on this one for, see how far that takes me. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It never get to the bottom of it. So to align, to rest back, to remember that there is a responsiveness, there is a knowing, an intuitive knowing that is mysterious, that is unfathomable, that is ineffable. And yet again and again and again, when we come back to this, there is a response, there is a refuge, there is a awakening of our capacity to align here and now. So let's sit together for 20 minutes. So the invitation is to have a comfortable way of being embodied, whatever that looks like for you or feels like for you. And I'll give just a few words to bring us into the meditation, and then I'll come into silence. At the very end of the meditation, I'll offer one more reminder, and then we'll close with a bell. So, whatever mantra resonates with you, just offer that now into the space, into the thinking mind as an invitation. And the mantra can then be an invitation to receive the body with awareness. And we can make a choice to possibly deepen the breath as again an invitation for the body to relax or to receive the nourishment of breathing. You might align the mantra with the breath, practicing with Buddho, the Bud on the in-breath, Toe on the out-breath. Or allowing the Namo Quan Shi Yin Pusa just to mingle with the rhythm of breathing. Noticing how you are, the feeling tones, the moods, the emotion. Again, allowing the mantra to invite the mind to be more receptive, attuned to your embodied experience. If the mind is quite active, the mantra might be a bit more active, gently meeting that cognitive capacity with the words of the mantra. And if the mind is settled, The mantra might be a very light touch, a lot of space between each word or after the mantra. So listen in to the space, what remains when the mantra ends. In the last few minutes of this sitting, you might slow the mantra down even more, letting each word, each phrase, each sound be an invitation into the listening, receiving the sensations, the feeling tones, resting in the awake, aware knowing of the heart. So the primary teaching of the Buddha was that we can wake up out of the dukkha, out of the avidya, which means the ignorance of and the resulting suffering of the mind that grasps onto conditions, thinking that they can be permanent and that they create a sense of me and mine. And so in the Paticca the teaching on the wheel of dependent origination, the opening teaching is really about how dukkha, how this existential suffering or dissatisfaction or things not being aligned, feeling separated from wholeness, how this comes about. And the words are avijja paccaya sankhara. So sankhara is a pattern. It literally means that which is constellated or put together. The word in Sanskrit is samskara. So san or sam means together, and kara is action. It's like karma. It's the root kra, which means to do or to make. So that we literally put together, the mind puts together a pattern out of whatever it is that we come into contact with: form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness, and puts that together and grasps onto that. Again, creating really a world out of that, creating my world, who I am, who you are. And that's a split. That's that division out of or away from awakening, from the awakened nature, again, that is in alignment with the truth of how it is, the truth of impermanence, the truth of a conditioned world that we live in. And so this pattern, the sankhara, the thoughts, are really the expression of that pattern, and often generated by the nervous system. So a response in the nervous system to whatever we're with that is conditioned by our personal history, our trauma history, our ancestry. All of that conditions the whatever our own type of patterning is that we create, that we make. And so the mantra is also a sankhara. It's also a pattern. It's a thought pattern that actually meets the ignorance, this pattern in the mind, in the body, and offers it a wider sphere, a spaciousness, an opening into awakening. And so this pattern, actually to pick up a pattern that meets the pattern itself, or the pattern in the mind, and offers it this other way, is a very powerful practice. It also reveals the ephemeral nature of pattern, because of sankhara, because we pick it up, namo, kwan shuryam pusa, the words are there, the thought is there, the sound is there, and then it ends. And then what's at the end of the sound? There's the space, there's the silence, there's the gap. So just by holding the mantras, again, this reminder of of whatever seems to be so solid and so real is actually born out of the spaciousness. That form is born out of the silence, out of the spaciousness, and arises, constellates, and ceases. And this is the medicine. So the medicine for that dukkha, for that sense of being split, dukkha, ka means is related to the word akasha, which means space or wholeness. Du is to be separated. So literally to be separated from a sense of completion or wholeness or belonging or connectedness. When we hold the mantra, there's a way that split is healed. That sense of being caught, of being constricted, of being narrowed. Buddha taught the teaching on the Lonapala Sutta, the salt crystal, if we take that avidya, if we take that discursive thought, that greed or that aversion or that worry, and we put it in a very tight mind and body, it's very intense, it's very bitter. Just like when you put a crystal of salt in a glass of water and you try to drink it. But if we put that in a spacious sphere, spacious field, Namo Kwan Shuryam Pusa, aligning with this great compassionate heart, placing the suffering, the challenge, the worry, the grief in this wider space of connectedness to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It's like taking that salt crystal and placing it in a giant body of water. When we would taste that water, it would not taste salty. So this healing, this medicine for the split, for the division, supporting the unification, the realignment, the awakening, the return, the great return. So I'd like to dedicate here at the top of the hour the merit of our time together, the blessing of our time together, to healing the splits and the divisions in our world. May all blessings from our meditation, from our listening, from our alignment, extend out to be a healing, to be an awakening, to compassion, to peace, and for all beings. And let's close just 3 times with the heart mantra of Avalokiteshvara, Kuan Yin, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. In a moment, we'll go into a 20-minute period of sharing your own reflections, sharing any questions that you might have. And if you have to leave, I'll share the couple of links for you and also a couple of announcements. So if you wish to support Sacred Mountain Sangha with a donation, that is very supportive for in being able to offer these teachings. So coming into the chat is the link for the Dana, also the link for the Sacred Mountain Sangha YouTube channel, and some upcoming events. So there'll be an Earth Day gathering in alliance with Yoga for Climate Action next Sunday. So that's Sunday, April 21st. This session will be slightly extended. It'll go till 10:45. And there is the link for that. And there is also an upcoming in-person Sacred Mountain Sangha retreat titled Awakening Activism, a Dharma Response to Gaza. That is in collaboration and hosted by, so it will be at Rocky Mountain Eco Dharma Center in Ward, Colorado. That's May 6th through the 10th with Tanisara, Elaine Ye, Yang O, and myself. And really looking forward to that. Please join us for that if you can make it. And then our sister Sangha, Dharmagiri, is offering a new online six-week course titled Cultivating a Safe Space Within. And that's Thursdays, May 9th through June 20th. And I will also put that into the chat. So a lot of incredible upcoming offerings.